Testing, testing. Welcome back, True Seeker. As you likely know, there was a big bank collapse on Friday. They're saying the second worst bank collapse in history, and it was the second bank to fail in the week. First, it was Silvergate Bank that was too closely attached to cryptocurrency, which is struggling. And then following that, it was Silicon Valley Bank, which is the bank of the big tech companies, especially big tech startups. So these bank collapses closely connected to the world of technology, as pretty much everything is at this day and age. But what I want to talk about in this video is that no doubt this was a planned ritual. There was no accident. It's not an accident that the con man on CNBC was telling everybody to invest in this stock right before it collapsed. Again, this is how the rich make their money. It's a rigged game, and the majority of us, we're not in on the rigging. Again, there are very few people in this world that control the majority of wealth in the market. And for the common man, they own a tiny, tiny sliver, even if they are invested in the market, of the total wealth of that market. The vast majority of the wealth is controlled by a very small group of people. And some of those people, like people at the Vatican, they have access to printing presses because the Vatican has its own central bank. So anyhow, we're going to talk about the parallels between March 10th, 2000, the day the dot-com bubble burst happened, and March 10th, 2000, the day the nation's biggest big tech bank went down. Exactly 23 years to the day later, when we know in Gematria, market equals 23. Big number with the market. We'll go back and look at the headlines in 2000 and see just how 23 it was. But I want to start right here. Again, March 10th, 2000, March 10th, 2023. As we talked about, Silicon Valley Bank, the collapse began on March 9th, and it officially collapsed all the way the next day, March 10th, shortly after business hours began. In Gematria, bank collapse, again, if you're new here, Gematria, you learn this practice, you see how rigged the market is, you see how rigged the news is, you see how rigged the elections are, the sports games. Again, this is the knowledge to get ahead. You had a rough day yesterday in the market, could have used this knowledge on the sports games. A lot of people multiplied their money times 10 taking advantage of the rigged NBA last night. Anyway, this knowledge connects it all. Bank collapse begins on 3/9, while the bank is 39 years old, and then they freeze trading on the stock for Silicon Valley Bank at $39.27. The 27 is also symbolic, but we're focused on the 39. Again, bank collapse 39 years old, stock stops at $39, and here's the kicker. On the anniversary of the beginning of the dot-com bubble bursting, and how much did the dot-com bubble cost the NASDAQ in 2000? It fell 39% in 2000, continued to fall more in 2001, and the falling didn't stop until October, that symbolic month, in 2002. And from knowing this knowledge, I predicted, that the market would rise back up to 33,000 for October, which it did. October's the only month that equals 33 like Dow Jones. Again, we've been showing for years how rigged the market is. It's amazing to me that, it wasn't the viral trending topic the day that the Dow fell 1,861 points. It's like, what's wrong with this country? You guys don't see the joke of it falling 1,861 points after the whole weekend was about how the country looked like it was the time of the Civil War, with the Confederate flag being banned at NASCAR and the autonomous zone popping up in Seattle, and then the market falls 1,861 points. Again, you guys, this whole thing is just one big sick joke. It's all rigged. It's all controlled. It's all insider trading. And again, it's only a few hands that have to be in on it to move the whole market because they control nearly all the wealth in it. Again, go look at the Warren Buffetts of the world, and he's not even one of them. Warren Buffett's the next tier down. But Warren Buffett, for example, he owns a third of Apple, and how much of Coca-Cola? Again, there's very few people in this world that control the majority of its wealth. People who have $1 million and think they've made it, really, compared to the pie of wealth in this world, the people that have $1 million, they just have a little crumb too. Warren Buffett looks mega rich, but again, he's on the next tier down. There are people in this world, names you do not know, who control almost all of the wealth in it. Old money. And a lot of them have had a lot of, family members be the Pope of this world too. It's amazing how many people overlook the Catholic Church. We're telling time by their calendar. So again, let's talk about how no doubt this is the Jesuits. Let's also get in with their favorite little puppet, Elon Musk, saying maybe he'll buy SVB. We'll see how perfect this ritual is. Just the latest evidence that Elon Musk is nothing but a front man for these Jesuit-controlled corporations that he's the face of. Like I've proven a million times, all of big tech is completely Jesuit. It's the Jesuits that are doing this. I can't emphasize it enough. Learn who the Jesuits are. They control this nation. They control its banks. What's their logo? Oh, the Templar cross. Who are the original bankers? Oh, the Templars. So anyway, let's go through the proof. Oh, by the way, in light of, all year, I've been pointing out, in March, we're probably going to see some big financial news, some kind of black swan event. It was all foreshadowed by the Damar Hamlin hoax collapse, born on March 24th with the number 3, and then days later, number 3 for Old Dominion, also collapsed with a March 24th birthday. Again, we've been talking about why we should expect this in March all year. Again, everyone around the water cooler, oh my God, you see what happened to Damar Hamlin? It's like, yeah, did you notice nothing happened to Damar Hamlin? Did you notice that was a fake ambulance on the field? Did you notice it was another big ritual for another big mockery for America? Anyway, let's go through all this. March 24th, if you go back and look at this, the broad U.S. market topped out on March 24th, 2000. March 24th, 2000, exactly 23 years to the day of the day we've been hyper-focused on, but we've mentioned that it could be other days in March, any day with a connection to collapse, which included, here, we'll just go over all of it, but let's go through it piece by piece. It's going to be exactly 8,400 days from March 24th, 2000 to March 24th, 2023. The Silicon Valley Bank officially collapsed 83 days after the Pope's birthday, or on his 84th day of his age. Collapse is 83, Jesuit is 84, so is United States of America. March 24th will be the 83rd day of the year. But again, it's exactly 23 years later, huge market number, market 23. And here was the headline from March 23rd, 2000, the last day of the Dow being up before it went down a long ways. And just look at what they wrote. Look at what they wrote on March 23rd. Again, it was around this same time in history. It was after 9/11 that I really started to realize that everything in the news was by the numbers. Like everything was a number ritual. 9/11 made it super obvious, and it was like from that day forward, I just noticed that everything was a number ritual in the news. I said, okay, this is bigger than just having a national emergency on 9/11. There's something going on with numbers and news. But look at this. Microsoft lifts Wall Street. And of course, Bill Gates is another one of these Jesuit puppets, just like Elon Musk. But anyway, here's what they wrote. 23, this is on March 23rd, 2000. 23 of the Dow's 30 stocks rose, pushing the blue chip index up 253.16 points. Or 2.3% to 11,119.86. Or 0.86, I should say. That's its first close above 11,000 since February 3rd. Oh, what? How do we write February 3rd in the U.S.? Do we write it 2-3? I mean, again, you guys, they've been doing this the whole time. It's all number games. It's why the last book I put out is called Number Games. But how do we know it's the Jesuits doing this? Again, they're the only ones that could possibly be it. They're responsible for the languages, we know it. They're responsible for the calendars, we know it. They are large and in charge. They have their own central bank. There's no other group and faction of people who've been warned about for centuries, who have the clout, who have the experience, who have the history of governing. You can't forget that the Catholic Church used to be the government of Europe. That's why Catholic equals 35, like Europe, like Holy See, like like JFK, number 35, the first Catholic, like Joe Biden, the second Catholic, inaugurated on the Pope's 35th day of his age. Of course, if you run it in reverse, Catholic's 46, like JFK killed at 46, like Joe Biden, number 46, 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday, as we predicted more than a year before it happened. But anyway, the thing also about March 24th upcoming. It's the 83rd day of the year, which is the 23rd prime, right? And again, collapse equals 83 with the alphabetic order, 29 with numerology, 133 with the reverse alphabetic order, and notice Monday is going to be 13/3. You know, there's a lot of people over this weekend saying that a lot more banks could fall because of the panic. There's a lot of banks that are leveraged worse than even Silicon Valley Bank was. People are going to find out whose banks are hurting. And this is how the big sharks get even bigger. JP Morgan, going to eat up more banks. Wells Fargo, going to eat up more banks, no doubt about it. You know, the last major bank failure was Washington Mutual. Funny enough, that was the first. Washington Mutual was big up here in Washington State. My first ever bank account where I put my paper route money was in Washington Mutual. But now it's JP Morgan Chase. All the Washington Mutuals became JP Morgan Chase. And don't forget who JP Morgan was. He was the guy who got off the Titanic right before it set sail. You think he had some insider knowledge back then? 3 of the world's richest people all died on that boat. All of them happened to be opposed to the Federal Reserve. They were all waging political campaigns to stop the Federal Reserve. They all died on the boat in a perfect ritual, synced up with the establishment of the Federal Reserve. If people don't know, look up the book Futility Wreck of the Titan, written a decade before the Titanic sank. It's about a boat named the Titan hitting an iceberg and sinking on its first sail from Europe to the Americas. I'm sure it was a coincidence. And also just look into the Titanic, because a lot of people say it wasn't even the Titanic that really sank that night. It was his sister ship that was rebranded with Titanic on it that already had damage from crashing in port, which is probably also true. Probably a big insurance fraud scheme. But notice the gematria of collapse in March. Again, gematria is alphabetic order, forwards and backwards with numerology. Collapse in March both equal 43 and 29. I should have put football up there because football is the exact same as collapse in every cipher. 83, 29, 133, 43, which is why we've been talking about Damar Hamlin and his staged collapse ritual on the Buffalo Bills, dollar bills. And by the way, in Cincinnati, which is where one of the major IRS headquarters is, if you didn't realize that, the whole Damar Hamlin thing happened in Cincinnati. A lot of people in the nation who used to send their tax payments or their quarterly payments to like San Francisco or other places. Now they're sending them to Cincinnati, which has become like this huge IRS hub. We're in tax season when all of this is happening. Again, they want to make a transition. They need a huge problem to bring about the digital currency transition, and we're seeing how it's going. You know, crypto, big tech, banks, how it's all coming together. Pretty soon it'll be the blockchain US dollar that the government tracks every last penny. Okay, so anyway, 83rd day of the year upcoming, same day that was crucial 23 years ago. And get a load of this. From when the dot-com bust happened to finally when the bust ended and it started to regain its value, it happened in the 135th week. March 10th, 2000 to October 9th, 2002. The 135th week. And again, we've talked about the significance of this number. It's connected to Wall Street collapses in history. Stock exchange equals 135, so does Wall Street when you run the alphabetic order forwards and backwards. And again, there's a fine line between Wall Street and the Central Intelligence Agency. Big number with CIA rituals as well, 135. And again, look at Central Intelligence Agency, 243. That's how the majority of the world writes the date, March 24th, 24/3. Central Intelligence Agency, 117. We talked about this when Damar Hamlin collapsed. Buffalo Bills, 117. It was on the 117th day of the NFL season that the bill with number 3 collapsed. Like here we are in the 3rd month, March. For the 432, I don't have anything for you. But remember, I was in Buffalo back in May on Israel's birthday when the white supremacists shot up the Bills' hometown tops 117 days before their season opener. And there was another mass shooting in the news that day. And it was at the Grand Central Market in Los Angeles. Of course, the Bills opened the season against L.A., the Rams, the defending champions. But Grand Central was also 117. But anyway, that's where these numbers factor in. From the Buffalo Bills, who wear red, white, and blue like America, to what they're doing with the market. And again, 9/11 Patriot Act, and all of a sudden the Patriots are so great. Katrina, and all of a sudden the Saints can win a Super Bowl. Again, what happens on the football field is symbolic of what happens in America. Because it's all rigged. And by the way, don't forget, the CIA was established in a huge Jesuit ritual, synced up with the sitting Pope at the time, Pope Pius. And again, the Jesuits created the Illuminati, which was the Bavarian Illuminati. So I just want to remind, Illuminati symbolism all over the dollar bill. Illuminati created by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt. And in case you're new here, Order of Illuminati equals 201, like the Jesuit order equals 201, like how Adam Weishaupt died 201 days after the anniversary of its establishment, like how Central Intelligence Agency, United States of America equals 201, and it was established on the 201st day of the Pope's age. Again, the Jesuits served the Pope. And again, Event 201, the pandemic simulation right before the pandemic that brought down the economy, only for it to skyrocket with the big tech takeover, as we predicted. But, again, you guys, I mean, all throughout history, the same patterns over and over. 135 is a number we talked about many a times in history with stock market collapses, and I'd never really looked into the dot-com bubble bursting before, and I should have. But what do you know? Same old numbers. And funny enough, the exact same numbers we've been looking at for this year. Okay, so how do we know this is the Jesuits? Here, that wasn't enough. Well, let's make it more clear. Let's scroll down here. From the anniversary of the establishment of Silicon Valley Bank, October 17th. By the way, it was created in 83. Do you think it was created to collapse? Do you think this was planned the whole time? Because what I'm telling you is it was. From the day that bank was created, this planned collapse was in the cards. It's like, you guys, we're living out history, right? You know how when you watch a TV show like Law & Order, there's seasons and seasons and seasons? There are people that are writing the planned direction of where they're taking America and how. We're going to do this. We're going to have this puppet do this. We're going to have this boogeyman do this. Osama bin Laden was a CIA asset to make a point. The direction of the country totally shifted because of Osama bin Laden, the cave dweller. You know? Sorry, guys, we can't be, so brave or so free anymore. We got to protect ourselves from the cave dweller. So now we're a surveillance state, and now we can look at all your, we can look at everything about you. Your library records, everything. The new America. COVID, sorry, we're not brave anymore. Now we stay in our homes, we wear masks, we Lysol everything, we shut down mom and pop, but it's safe to shop at Walmart and order from the Amazon guy. Anyway, look at this. 144 days after the bank's 39th birthday. Again, as a reminder, bank collapse 39, collapse begins on 3/9. Trading price stopped at $39. When the dot-com bubble burst, it went down 39% in 2000. Starting on the same day that this happened. It's just like, oh my God. But 144 days later, Jesuit order, corporation, the United States of America, which has been Jesuit from the beginning. Thus why the nation's federal city was moved to Jesuit Georgetown. And by the way, they have a great Georgetown tribute with Jackie Kennedy today. But by the way, if you didn't know, JFK, from his meeting with the Pope to the day he got his head blown off, 144 days. From the day that Jesuit Georgetown simulated that Joe Biden would win the election and Trump would refuse to step down, to the day that Biden won the election 144 days later. How about when the Jesuit Trump went and posed with the Jesuit Pope at the Vatican? Oh yeah, on the 144th day. How about when Elon Musk, who's now rumored to take over the bank, bought Twitter? Remember? He made the offer on April 14th, 14/4. Get to that one in a moment, since they're saying Elon might come in and save the day at Silicon Valley Bank. 10 years from now, you can have your bank account linked up to your brain through his Neuralink. It'll drive your car. It'll make your deposits for you. You won't even have to work anymore. You can just sit there and be an empty vessel in Meta. But anyway, let's see. Okay. So Elon Musk, there he is, everybody's favorite hero. Isn't it amazing how half the country thinks Elon Musk and Trump are the heroes, and they're just nothing but Jesuit pawns who are puppets on strings that you can see through every day with this knowledge? But there he is, notice, from the collapse, March 10th, to his upcoming June 28th birthday. And I swear to God, somehow I always accuse Elon Musk of being connected to the first deletion of my channel. That's back when I was booming, because it was on his birthday, and I used to call him out back then too for being the good little puppet he is. But of course, the channel's been deleted 10,000 more times since then, and now we don't have a bustling channel at all. Once upon a time, I'd command 10,000 views within putting up a video within 20 to 30 minutes. Now I'm lucky if I get 2,000 views for the whole week it's up. But anyway, my channel was first deleted June 28th, 2017 on Elon Musk's 46th birthday, which is another special number to him. But anyway, this collapse comes 110 days for his birthday. Elon Musk 110. Notice how SVB is 43, like Elon Musk, like collapse, like March, also like football with Damar Hamlin. And notice this is synced up with his 52nd birthday. Again, I call 52 the technology number. In my latest book, Number Games, I talked about the significance of the big tech takeover in 2020, blamed on the pandemic, or the year of the pandemic that allowed big tech to take over in a new, unprecedented way. Again, that was 52 years after coronavirus was coined in 1968. Also 52 years after 2001: A Space Odyssey came out, about technology overtaking man. And then another movie about technology overtaking man is Terminator. Notice how technology and Terminator are both 52. Again, this is synced with Elon Musk's 52nd birthday. Could he now take over the big tech bank of Silicon Valley? Tesla Inc., his company's 52, and so is the stock ticker TSLA 52. Something to think about in the year that he will turn 52 years old. And for the record, the market collapses in recent times are being blamed on technology, aren't they? .com bubble was a technology thing. Now it's, first Silvergate goes down, too connected to crypto. Now the big tech bank goes down, could cause shockwaves throughout the banking world. So technology and market collapse, interesting how they overlap, right? That's how these people work, though. They're like, okay, we got to put the story together. It's all got to make sense in our Kabbalistic language. And again, Jesuit order, 144-103, March 10th, written 10/3 in the majority of the world on 10/3, 144 days after the bank's anniversary. Elon Musk just brought Trump back to Twitter in a big 144 ritual. Again, he bought Twitter in a big 144 ritual. And the list just goes on. I mean, there's just always more 144 Jesuit order rituals. It's a biblical number, the 144,000. It's a time number. There's 1,440 minutes in a day. There's a square root of 144, which is 12. 12 hours in the morning, in the evening, 12 months in the year. And notice the Gematria Jesuit order. We're going to go over where all this stuff fits in. But when Musk made his purchase offer for Twitter, it was $54 a share on 14/4. The anniversary of the Titanic going down, the anniversary of Lincoln killed in the Jesuit plot by Guy Surratt. And keep in mind, we're coming up on March 13th, the anniversary of the first Jesuit Pope being installed on the 72nd day of the year. These are all big Jesuit numbers. On the dollar bill with all the Illuminati symbolism, there's 72 bricks on the dollar. For the record, the Illuminati equals 153 like Jesuit order as well. And again, the Illuminati was founded by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt. But okay, let's go over this Monday. Coming up with this Monday. Monday was a date we circled back when the Old Dominion player collapsed right after Damar Hamlin, because the story was that they had the same birthday. They both wore number 3. And then I looked more carefully at Old Dominion, because that means like old control. And we know they're transitioning us to a new money system. Last summer, they had that big economic summit in Dubai, and the representative for the U.S. said that in the next 2 years, the U.S. will be on a totally digital currency. Now, that still remains to be seen if it's true, but that was definitely an eyebrow raiser, and we said, okay, the transition is close. Within 2 years is now up to the summer after this one. So that's the time frame they gave. But anyhow, Old Dominion, their birthday is March 13th. They're going to turn 93 years old. And 93 is an interesting number. It's a number that represents Saturn, the keeper of time. The bank collapse was just on March 9th, which can also be written 9/3. But March 13th, the 72nd day of the year, 13/3, collapse 133. It's the 72nd day of the year. Money and Bitcoin both equal 72. Crypto's in all kinds of flux right now. But money, Bitcoin. Remember when Bitcoin was at its all-time high? There was like a 72 thing with that, and I said, this could be the high. I said, it might be going down a long way from here, and it's gone down a long way since then. Bitcoin's also got that 117 like Central Intelligence Agency, and if you look into Bitcoin, you'll find out it's very Catholic. Its top engineers are very Catholic, and the CIA really should stand for Catholics in Action. But okay, the date Silvergate collapsed, connected to crypto. March 8th, date that can be written 8/3, like 83 for collapse. Again, the collapse of SVB on the 83rd day of the Pope's age was March 9th, and 83 days after his birthday was March 10th. The other thing that's interesting about the day it fully collapsed, it was his 84th day of his age, and it's easy to remember the distance between the Pope and the Superior General because their birthdays are 35 days apart. So that means that it fully collapsed on the 119th day of the Superior General's age. That's the leader of the Jesuits, Arturo Sosa. Vatican 119, and so is Francis, as in Pope Francis. But again, special number, all-seeing eye, 119, right? The thing that's on the dollar bill. And why was it put on the dollar bill in 35? Because I is 35, like Catholics 35, like Holy See's 35. The old name for Jesus, Jesus, is 35. The Catholic Church is a sun cult that celebrates the sun's birthday on 12/25, where the square root of 12/25 is 35, so on and so forth. Again, they used to be the government of Europe. Europe came over here, created America, killed the darker complected people. So anyway, their birthdays are 35 days apart. So if it's the 84th day of the Pope's age, it's the 119th day of the Superior General's age. Easy math. Superior General's born November 12th. Pope Francis is born December 17th. During Saturnalia. Okay. So, again, we covered all the 39 stuff. Interestingly enough, March 13th will be 167 days after a very special date of the Jesuits. That's September 27th. That's the day in history that the Jesuits were recognized by Rome to counter the 95 Theses. That's why they were recognized on the day leaving 95 days left in the year, September 27th. Again, Martin Luther of Germany wrote the 95 Theses, which brought about the existence of the Jesuits. We just saw the German Pope die at age 95 on the last day of the calendar year that's named after the Catholic Pope, Gregory the 13th. But it'll be 167 days after September 27th. This Monday, that's the 39th prime number. And it has 39 date numerology. So collapse 133. We just saw the huge bank collapse 39 ritual to set it off. And now a lot of people, again, now the fear's out there, right? Other banks that are in a similar position, feeling pressure. People on TV right now saying, yeah, you might want to get out. You might want to get in a bigger, more stable bank like JP Morgan. JP Morgan and Wells Fargo actually had positive days when everybody else went way down. Again, it's just like, and someday it will be that way. Someday we'll be down to, 2-3 banks left. Bank of America, which started out as Bank of Italy. Be like, those are going to be your three choices. JP Morgan, Bank of America, Wells Fargo. And when that happens, things get even worse for the customer. Not that they're not already god-awful. Banks charge people $1 gazillion in interest. You could put a fortune in the bank. Put $1 million in the bank. It wouldn't be FDIC insured past the first $250,000. But I mean, you could have $1 million in there. You'd be getting paid almost nothing each month. Be getting like some tiny little crumbs back in interest. Imagine if you had $1 million bet or debt to the bank, man. They'd be making a fortune off you. They'd be making a killing. And once upon a time, when there were a lot more banks and a lot more competition, there was a time when people could make money by just saving money in the bank. They didn't have to risk it in the market. Realize that they've made it all this way on purpose. They want people to put their money in the market. It's a lot riskier. It's easier for the big fat cats who control the market to just pull the rug out and suck up a bunch of wealth and then crash it all down and then come back in and buy cheap and make even more wealth while, grandpa lost his retirement. Everything we're living out, you guys, is by design. So, you look at all the people on YouTube telling you to invest in all these companies and what a great return they are. I mean, yeah, there's an element of truth to it too, but it's like, but have you thought about what really investing in that company means? If you really thought what investing in that company that's helping take away your rights and liberties and build a surveillance state and give everybody diabetes and start another war, have you really thought about what it means to invest in those companies? But that's the only way to get up. So it's the game you got to play in America. But anyhow, I had to go back and look at when the first BitCoin transaction took place. It was May 22nd, 2010. And interesting day, 142nd day of the year, leaving 223 days remaining. We've seen a lot of 223 this year, similar to 2023. But I noticed that from that day to March 13th, 2023, by the way, shout out, somebody sent me on Thursday, somebody sent me $100 of Bitcoin. It's the first time I've ever had any cryptocurrency. They sent it to me over CashApp, and then it went down quite a bit, and then it went back up. It's gone all the way down to $90, and now it's up to $102. I'm not going to do anything with it. I'm just going to keep it in there and just forever just watch what it does. So thank you to the person who sent that $100 worth of Bitcoin. That was very nice of you. But it's the first time I've actually ever been an owner of any crypto, and it's only because that person gifted it to me through the Cash App. But yeah, I'm just going to keep it there and just watch it and just keep track. And again, for people who are new here, we've made some dead-on calls with Bitcoin and crypto, even though we don't follow the current. I don't really follow the currency, but just some things have stood out to me. I'm like, okay, that's definitely what they're doing with it, because we know it's all rigged. It's just so obvious. So obvious. Satoshi Nakamoto. Again, the most obvious call was when Nakamoto was 45 years old. I said, just watch. 45 weeks after his birthday is Valentine's Day, the 45th day of the year, and Bitcoin equals 45 like Nakamoto, and the thing will be worth at least 45K by then. It was worth way less at the time. It was worth like around 30K at the time, and it shot up to over 50K by Valentine's Day. It did even better, but it was just so obvious. It was 245. That's a special number to this cabal. IHS, the Jesuit acronym, equals 45 like the word ritual. So anyway, coming back to this though, again, we just saw the huge 144 ritual with the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank. Silvergate just collapsed on 54 date numerology, March 8th, 2023, 3 plus 8 plus 20 plus 23. Bitcoin does equal 72 like money in Jesuit order. That's why their symbols are all over the money. And then notice right now we are in this period that it's 153 months and 19 days since the first Bitcoin transaction. So we'll see what it means. I mean, Bitcoin's already so far down, unless the plan is to have it collapse all the way so that the Fed can come in like they've already been saying and say that they need to centralize crypto so that these types of things can't happen. If that really is the plan, to have it go all the way down to nothing, it would suck for a lot of people, because they put a lot of, again, the whole time I've been telling you guys to stay away from the Bitcoins and the cryptos. I do think they're going to do something with XRP eventually. XRP equals 22 and 23. Went up in 22, it's back down. Will it go back up this year? But there's too many big names attached to that XRP for that not to become something more than it is eventually. But again, I've been telling people, this crypto is an obvious scam, and we know who controls it. And so many people are like, no, nobody can control Bitcoin. And it's just like, I don't know where you guys come up with these like fantasies and just obvious false beliefs you have. You don't even know who created the thing. You know Satoshi Nakamoto's this made-up character. Yeah, they do perform rituals with the name and his supposed birthday. His birthday, by the way, is also April 5th, 4/5. How could I forget? But yeah, it's amazing how many like Bitcoin fanboys think that thing's like the most legit thing there ever was. It's like, you don't even know who created it. What do you mean? You have all this confidence in something that you don't even know where it came from? We know where it came from by knowing the code. Same people who control the rest of the money in this world. But anyway, again, this thing's a grand experiment and a stepping stone to where they want to take the world. They want to create the excitement for the digital currency. They want to show people the promise of it. What can be better about it than what we already have? All of that's been modeled, but then you're also seeing the downside. How big the swings can be because of the great unknowns. So anyhow, we'll see all what's going down on Monday. But I imagine some things are going down Monday. Again, it's synced up with Damar Hamlin. It's synced up with the Old Dominion player. It's synced up through the Gematria. It's synced up through the month of March. And, keep in mind between here and March 24th, we still have the Ides of March coming up on March 15th, 15/3. See if I'm going down again on that day. I've been sabotaged twice on that day in the time I've been doing this work. Had every online account hacked, which created some serious problems. And then I had my best source of income banned on the Ides of March in 2019. And, had that thing, that revenue stream was always growing with time. Had that thing continued to grow and become bigger and bigger, who knows? They could have cut off a $1 million cash flow that I could have had between now and then. But yeah, I always get a little bit more on my guard when the Ides of March comes around. So anyway, that is March 15th. The day to remember the assassination of Caesar by stabbing. And why else would it be the 74th day of the year on this Roman calendar? Stabbing 74, killing 74. 3 of the first 5 presidents dead on 7/4, which is holiday 74, and Independence Day 74. If I can spell it right. Independence Day. And how many of the first 5 presidents died on 7/4? 3 of the first 5. I wonder who did it. Think it was the Catholic Church? Roman 74 and so on and so forth. You think you really got free on 7/4? London is an old Roman military fortress. Think they really got free from the Roman Empire? No, it's just been growing the whole time. But yeah, I suspect there's some more bombs that go off on Monday. And by the way, in light of the one collapse being on 10/3 with the Jesuits connection, Pope Francis is 86 right now. Being aware of that was so helpful because we knew why Argentina would be winning the World Cup the day after his 86th birthday, when that's where he's from, and that's who won it in 86. Argentina over France for Pope Francis, the first Jesuit pope when the Jesuits are from France. But the Ides of March this year is 86 days after Pope Francis' 86th birthday. So that's also one to keep an eye on. And I noticed Satoshi Nakamoto is... no. Hold on. I misspoke. March 13th is 86 days after Pope Francis' 86th birthday. Monday will be 86 days after his 86th birthday. The Ides of March will be 88 days after his birthday. I just find that interesting because, again, first the crypto bank falls. And by the way, if you guys missed it, Silvergate equals 118. It collapsed 118 days from FTX, which filed for Chapter 11 on 11/11. Couldn't be any more numerology when 11's the master number and they're executing the master plan piece by piece. But Satoshi Nakamoto's 47 right now, which is a big banks number. Again, we're seeing how crypto, its problems are going into the banks, and how Silvergate led into Silicon Valley Bank. And then we'll see where it goes from here. I mean, the thing to really do if you had the information would be to look at like what other banks are in similar positions. The data's out there. I mean, it'd take a lot of analysis, but we'll find out very soon because there's going to be more dominoes to fall. But anyway, Satoshi Nakamoto's 47, big banks number. We're seeing how the crypto dominoes going into the bank domino. And then also just banks in 88, in light of what I'm saying about the Ides of March being one of these curious days. Because again, we got March 13th, the Ides of March, March 15th coming up. 322 Yale, the home of Skull and Bones 322, which is also modeled after the Knights Templar, another Catholic order. Yale's going to turn 322 years old in the fall. And I suppose the 88th day of this year is March 29th. We'll see. But yeah, those were really the main points that I wanted to go through. And let's see. Scan over some things. March 9th, the day that the the collapse began for Silicon Valley Bank was the 68th day of the year. Another big market number. Another big CIA number. Synced up with the Pope. And commodity or metals went up that day, of course. And then again, just the collapse of Silvergate on 8/3. Collapse 83. Again, the 23rd prime. Here we are in 23 years from the last major big tech market crash. But from FTX going down to Silvergate, 118 days. There might be something more with that Hamburg, Germany shooting as well, just because, again, Germany goes back to the Bavarian Illuminati, founded by the Jesuit, on the same day that you had SVB having problems. Notice, again, you had the Germany mass shooting, so we're told, on the Pope's 83rd day of his age, which means it was the 118th day of the Superior General's age, and 118 is a number connected to death. But notice the name of the neighborhood where that happened. Alsterdorf, 118. So that's something I'm going to have to look more into, because I don't know a whole lot about Germany outside of World War I, World War II. Of course, that was all a big financial mess, and the Bavarian Illuminati, but... And by the way, yeah, again, like, you can't even own a gun in Germany, so it's also a reminder of, like, what's the point of taking away people's guns? Psychopaths, if they really want to go out and do a mass shooting, they'll get their hands on a gun anyway. So, yeah, I think those were really all the main points. And again, if you got here late, if you just want to share something with your friends and family, this is the piece to really share with them. Just one more thing. Out of all this, the one thing I would share with your friends and family if you're trying to snap them out of the coma is, what are the odds? The collapse of the bank, Silicon Valley Bank, began on March 9th, 39, while the bank is 39 years old. They stopped trading on its stock at $39, and the collapse happened March 10th, which is the exact same day, 23 years earlier, that the dot-com bubble burst, causing the market, the NASDAQ, to fall by 39% in 2000. I mean, and in Gematria, bank collapsed 39. If you're talking to somebody who's a little bit sharper, you could maybe bring in the Jesuit piece. And you can also, again, I mean, there is, they don't like us to talk about history, but 39 where it gets its, here, look at this. The word bank is 10, right? I mean, when you think of banks, you tend to, if I asked the average person, okay, if you think of one religion when you think of banks, really, maybe the true first answer should be the Catholic Church, since the Templars are the original bankers. But most people, if you asked them that question, they probably wouldn't say the Catholic Church first. They'd probably say, well, banking, I tend to think of, if there's one religion I associate with that, I'd probably associate Judaism with it. Think about 39 and 10, you guys. 39 and 10. Where do those numbers come together? Where do 39 and 10 come together? How about the 39 books of the Old Testament with the 10 commandments? And by the way, if you spell out 10 as a word, it also equals 39. T's the 20th letter. E's the 5th. That's 25. N's the 14th. That's 39. So 10 and 39, historic pattern. And again, the Jesuits, they were created to counter the Protestant Reformation, which targeted Catholicism and Judaism. So that's the long history of how all this stuff came together. Traditionally, Gematria, the practice of coding numbers into words, comes from Jewish mysticism, Kabbalah. But yeah, there it all is. So let me say thank you to the super chatters. I see that we generated $19.99. Maybe that would just, I can't see the donation. Hold on. Let me find out who donated it. Let's see. Real Talk chipped in $10, said, gotta look into Mike Gill from New Hampshire, what he has exposed. and been fighting for the past 16 years is worth getting behind. Brandon O'Connell interviewed him recently. It's video 180, must watch. Okay. Mike Gill, Gill, from New Hampshire. And then Brandon O'Connell. He's real big on the Talpiot project in Israel. Okay, I'll check it out. Appreciate it. Thanks for the donation. And 13 Serpents donated $5. Thank you again, 13 Serpents. And congrats to the winners. Chipped in another $5 and said, can I cover the USDC news? I'm not sure. USDC news. All right, let's see. So I'm not familiar with this. Shout out to Clean Preps, who also donated some Bitcoin on, I think that's Bitcoin on CashApp. Okay, so now I have another thing of Bitcoin. Thank you. And also thank you to Jason, who chipped in a big fat 20. Oh, that was you. $25 worth of Bitcoin. I got it. Okay, thank you. Stablecoin issuer Circle reveals 3.3 billion SVB exposure. The USDC token falls sharply below its intended $1-to-$1 peg. 3.3 billion of its reserves are at failed Silicon Valley Bank. There's an interesting number. Well, I don't have a Bloomberg account, so I can't read their article. Let's try the Reuters one. London, March 11th, stablecoin USD coin, USDC lost its dollar peg and slumped to an all-time low on Saturday, so on 3/11. 3/11 and 3.3 billion. What's 3 times 11? 33. Slumped to an all-time low on Saturday before recovering most of its losses after Circle, the firm behind it, assured investors it would honor the peg despite exposure to failed Silicon Valley Bank. Circle said in a tweet on Friday, it's funny how we're coming up on Pi Day, Pi and Circles. Pi Day is March 14th. Circle said in a tweet on Friday it has 3.3 billion of its 40 billion of USDC reserves at Silicon Valley Bank. On Saturday, the cryptocurrency company said in a blog post that USDC liquidity operations will resume as normal when banks open on Monday morning in the United States. I'd have to do research on it because I've never looked into USDC before. So I'll do that for you. I see it's got that magic 47 gematria like banks. And again, it's another one of these stories bringing crypto and banking together. And I have a feeling we're going to hear a lot more about this. You know, crypto slides leading into bank closures. And Jerome Powell back up in front of Congress saying why we need to centralize crypto so that this can't ever happen again. And the next thing you know, the US dollar is like a cryptocurrency. It's totally digital. The coin, which broke its $1-to-$1 peg and fell as low as 88 cents. Wasn't I just talking about this? So, here. USDC 47, right? And then look at banks. Well, it's 47 and 11 like banks, but also 88. So it fell as low as 88 cents. Shortly after 0800 GMT on Saturday. Okay. But yeah, I do appreciate the donation and you bringing that up. With the investing group thing I'm doing, I will start looking more at crypto as well. Again, to me, Of course, there is money to be made with all these things if your timing's right, but crypto is a super dangerous thing right now. I feel like really what they want to do with crypto is tank it. So again, they can bring about the regulations and the centralization they keep talking about. Okay. Eric Meller with a big fat 20 says 248 most important number in Kabbalah, number of positive commandments, number of aspects of soul, number of years for Pluto revolution, number of dimensions in E8 Lie group. America's 248th birthday next year. Well, hold on. Not this year. You're saying in 2024. In 2024, the U.S. will turn 248 years old. I guess that's next year. We're not quite 247 yet, but okay. Off the top of my head, I don't think I've done any research on the number 248, but because you pointed that out to me, I'm going to look a lot more into that. So I appreciate the big donation, and I appreciate the tip on how relevant it is to Kabbalah. There's always more to learn. Thank you very much. And another Flo chipped in a very generous $5 and said, enjoying your stock analysis. Stay groovy, man. Yeah, I'll be doing a lot more too. I'm getting a lot of people who are saying they'd sign up for the group if it was later at night. I'm thinking about revising the whole way I'm doing the investment group right now because there's hardly anybody in those streams. I'm thinking about just putting out like a lot more just like posts and videos and then maybe having like a big weekend day when people have time off to do the market. So if for all of you guys who are in the market group, if you want to give me feedback on if you'd prefer it to be that way, just a lot of more exclusive posts and then like a bigger weekend live stream, because I do want people to be in there. So yeah, but I'm glad you're enjoying it. Thank you. I appreciate the feedback. Yeah, that could be true, Itachi. I just, there's a lot of people like you, though, at this day and age who, have a lot of free time despite their working. They work from home, so I was thinking we'd get more of those people. When I do the sports streams in the middle of the day, there's still like 200 people in those live streams, so maybe the gamblers don't have jobs, they just gamble. But, yeah, I think I got to figure out something, so... Yeah, hey, Fermenti's doing really well. I think we had something to do with your business booming. I remember you said you got overwhelmed when I promoted your thing. Everybody was tuned into that live stream when New York's Transformer blew. We promoted Fermenti, and then he was gone for like 6 months fulfilling orders. Good thing that was back when I could still get some viewers. I guess this stream's not too bad. We're almost at 400 people, but it's nothing like the good old days. I see the comment in the chat. Oh, yeah. Circle. Yeah, I think Circle, when you run it in reverse, is 40. You're right. So, yeah, the thing about Circle and, of its 40 billion. And understand 40. So, 40. Here, 40 is an important number. Remember, United States in the most pure cipher is 40. So is US. So is mathematics, right? All this stuff is math. Mathematics is 40. But we were just talking about the thing with Old Testament, right? 39 books, 10 commandments. Old Testament is also 40. And something that's really interesting about the overlap with U.S., United States, and Old Testament is that in Jewish Gematria, which Derek has renamed Latin, I think Derek took offense because he's Jewish, but the real name of it is Jewish Gematria. If you write out United States of America in Jewish Gematria, which he renamed Latin for God knows what reason, it's 929. And how many chapters are in the Old Testament? 929. 929 chapters in the Old Testament. United States of America, 929 in Jewish. Just for fun, Kevin Durant, his birthday, September 29th. Remember when it was a big deal that he got traded to the Warriors, and that was on July 4th, the nation's birthday? That's what I was talking about back then. It's like, it's interesting his birthday in light of the day of this trade, 7-4. So... Anyhow. Appreciate that, Rico Hawk. Yeah, for anybody who signs up for the financial group, make sure you guys go back and watch the videos I already did, because honestly, I mean, we'll do a lot more and we'll get better at decoding the market with time. But really, like, the stuff that I really want everybody to know is in those first 2 videos that I put out for that financial group, because that is the most important stuff, and I don't think for as long as I do the group, there'll be anything that's more important that's ever said. But yeah, we will get better at the analysis as we spend more time with it, just like everything else. What's up? Yeah, right, the Matrix. All right, right as Yeah Right gets here, I was thinking about wrapping it up. Unless my eyes are on the chat. If anybody else has any observations or questions or anything else you want me to look at, now is the time. Now is the time for questions and requests. If you guys, yeah, Derek, just so you guys know, I did not, this is not my calculator, GematriaEffectNews.com. But if you don't like the ads that he put on there, just a reminder, my website, GematriaEffect.news, up at the top, there on the tab for calculator. If you go there, there's no ads on this calculator. There's no ads anywhere on the website. And again, you can download the calculators for your Apple or Android device. Totally free to download. Works offline. You don't even need an internet connection. And has all the ciphers that are the ones worth using. So if you want to add more ciphers beyond the base ciphers, they're in the settings menu. GematriaEffect.news. Oh, and as another reminder, by the way, you guys, I found out, man, so this store, I use a website called Printful, and then like Printful, you can design merchandise and then plug it into your own website, and then it sells stuff, and it looks clean. But Printful raised their prices, I guess because of inflation. So like literally everything I was selling on this website, I was losing money on because I put everything like at the lowest price possible when I set up this store. The reason I did not realize that I was losing money is because it's in the same revenue stream as people who've signed up for, the sports picks on the Free to Find Truth website, and I just kind of get like deposits every so often. But all of the sales in this were eating into that. Every single item that was on the site was selling at a loss because they had raised the cost of all items, and I had not raised any of my prices. So like every time, for example, I sold a hoodie, I was losing $8 per sale. I was like subsidizing hoodie for $8. And in a way, I guess I don't feel too mad about it because in a way, it sort of feels like I raised all the prices a little bit, so I'm not losing money anymore. At least I think I got it right now. But for everybody who got a hoodie for, whatever the price was before, I guess it was nice that I subsidized it for you because I feel like you guys are helping advertise and get out the word. So that was the fair exchange. But yeah, I did recently raise prices because I found out that every item was selling at a loss. And that was my bad for not staying on top of that. I'm really bad at keeping up with my emails. I'm sure at some point they'd sent me an email to let me know that they were raising prices and I just didn't catch it. But anyhow, that is why there was a little price hike on items. And the hoodie I had to raise the most because it had the biggest, for whatever reason, they charged the biggest price hike on that. The t-shirts, I didn't have to raise too much. So yeah, that was something I just found out about the other day. And it caught my attention in a bigger way because when I told you guys there was free shipping, more people went out and ordered. And then all of a sudden I was getting these emails and I noticed that there was like a negative sum of money that I owed for each one. I was like, what is going on? People are buying stuff and I owe more money? I ran myself up like a $250 tab in merchandise orders. So anyway, I don't feel too bad about it because, again, I appreciate that you guys got the gear and you'll help get out the word. But yeah, at the same time, I can't continue to sell merchandise at a loss. Not made out of money over here. So anyway, if you guys do want to support the work, right now shipping is free on everything. And I don't exactly know how long the shipping is going to be free for. I just got an email and they said we're going to make shipping free for everything on your store for the interim just to help you get some sales back. So thank you to everyone who went out and got something. And congrats to those who got it before I had to raise the price. So, yeah, that's it for now, True Seeker. GematriaEffect.news. Again, that's where the calculator is with no ads. That's where you can download the calculator. And if you want to support the work and get some merch, that's also the spot. Oh, I see a question from Decoding with Cody. No, I have not. Now, I'll tell you what, tomorrow's going to be a real busy day because tomorrow's Selection Sunday. I got to get everything ready for March Madness. No, I have not done anything with Waters Above Crypto. Again, he is... Notice he's another guy that hides behind the screen. You don't know who he is. You don't know his name. Hides behind his YouTube name. And again, kind of a guy that annoys me, right? You know, he took my work, gave me no credit for it. He saw what I did with Bitcoin when I called the big price hike that it was going to endure. And he goes, whoa, you can do something with this Gematria and Bitcoin values. I'm going to turn that into a big thing. And then what? He set up like a Patreon page charging people $100 a month for crypto analysis. So, again, it's like he can do whatever he wants with the knowledge, but the thing that I know about that guy is he says, when he does talk about me, he says snarky things. It's like, okay, you built a business off the knowledge that you learned from me for free, and then all you can say back are just like derogatory things. So, no, I don't want anything to do with that guy. You know. When I think of guys like that, sometimes I think like maybe I should get a lawyer and see if like somehow I can sue that guy for using my formula and then also slandering my name. I feel like all of his proceeds should really be mine. So no, I don't have any plans to associate myself with that person. From what I understand, that person is also a crypto, if you know what I mean. Deb Brown, should you take your money out of the bank? Again, you only really need to worry about money in the bank if you have more than $250,000 in there. As long as your bank's FDIC insured. Well, the other concern would be that like if you have all of your money in the bank and let's say your bank collapsed, you'd have to wait X amount of days before the FDIC reinsured your deposit. But honestly, I wouldn't worry too much about that, especially if you're in a major bank. If you're in Bank of America or JP Morgan or Wells Fargo, they're not going anywhere. These smaller banks, and likely your local, credit unions, they'll probably all be okay. So I imagine what's going to happen at some point in the future when they go digital is we're all going to get some kind of announcement that if you have outstanding, bills, you need to get those deposited into an account to have any credit for them. I imagine that's going to be something that happens in the future, that you have to put your money into the bank, otherwise it's going to be rendered worthless. Yeah, it's just like all the people who lost their money in the Silicon Valley Bank. The FDIC said that they'll have all their funds to them by Monday. So, but yeah, I wouldn't stress out about that too much. That said, I would have a little bit of money on hand just in case. Like we always keep a little bit of cash. I always keep like at least $500 stashed away in the house in case something crazy happened. I mean, have you ever gone to a store and they're not accepting credit cards or debit because their whole system's down and they're only accepting cash? That's the reason to always keep a little bit of cash on hand. But like I said, I imagine one day we'll get like some notification that if you want any credit for that money, you actually got to turn it into the bank. So we'll see. Here, you know what? I there was one more thing that I actually meant to look up before I did this live stream. I wanted to see, Jamie Dimon. He's the CEO of JP Morgan Chase, and their bank had a really good day in the market when the other bank went down. They were the only, well, Wells Fargo went up a little bit, but JP Morgan Chase had a pretty stellar day. And, oh, wow. His birthday is March 13th. Huh. Interesting. Interesting. So it's his birthday. Ooh, what could he get on his birthday? It's going to be his 67th birthday. That's interesting. So Monday is Jamie Dimon's birthday. Do they have another good day while other banks do not? Okay. All right. Well, with that, I think I did cover everything that I really wanted to. And again, thank you to everyone who made a donation. Very generous. I do appreciate it. Yeah, I know. Jamie Dimon. What a name indeed. Almost like diamonds. All right, you guys. We'll leave it there for now. And until next time.